Hey, what's up everybody? How's it going? How y'all doing? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm finally doing it. We're getting into it. We're talking about the brand new Lion King movie. Or at least it's new right now until they decide to remake it again, which they probably will. And when I heard they were gonna do this quote live action remake, I was kind of lukewarm on the idea, because when the original movie is so freaking good, it's really hard to top that. So it's kind of it's almost a no-win situation. But at the same time, I can still see why they did it, because Disney's been knocking it out of the park with their live action remake. So it's like, I get it. But for what they were trying to accomplish with visual effects, I feel like they were just making a $200 million experiment. And as far as experiments go, I wasn't really super impressed by it, because I don't think this was the right movie to do that experiment on. And if you've heard of The Lion King, you probably know the overall story of what it's about. It's about a young lion named Simba, and it's about him growing up and all the tragedy and all the tribulations that he faces. And he meets a bunch of wacky characters, has a couple song and dance numbers, and then, yeah, you get the idea. And the thing about this movie is that it is legitimately a shot-for-shot remake of the original animated movie. So for me personally, or anybody who's heard of The Lion King, there really isn't a whole lot of suspense. And in fact, there's so little suspense because half the time, the dialogue that is about to be spoken, you already know the words most of the time. They try to switch it up a little bit though. But the upside is some of the elements from the original are still present in this movie. Like, it's still a good story, and there's a lot of the characters that you already know and love, and then there's all the, you know, the musical bits that they have in it. But for me personally, some of the newer additions that they tried to make were really hit and miss. Like, whoever played Timon and Pumbaa, I think it was Seth Rogen and somebody else, they were okay. I don't know if they were better than the originals. And if I remember correctly, I believe Key and Peele do the voices of two of the hyenas, and that was actually a good bit. I liked all the chemistry that they had. There was a lot of jokes about personal space. But honestly, that's really the only thing that might be a little bit better, was some of the humor elements. But other than that, I felt kind of lifeless watching this movie. But make no mistake, this movie is a cinematic achievement from a visual standpoint. Like, this will change the way CGI is done, like, forever, pretty much. We haven't gotten to that point of uncanny valley where you can't tell. Everything looks perfectly real and you would have no idea that it was CGI. But considering the fact that everything is supposed to be CGI and I didn't notice it for a small portion of the time, that's pretty impressive. But the problem with trying to make this super photorealistic movie is that the original had really ridiculous things in it, and it didn't translate very well. Like, in the original, Timon and Pumbaa like dress up in hula outfits and are doing a crazy jumping around dance number. Like, you can't really do that in this type of setting. Also, the problem with this movie is that you can't really do facial emotions the way that they could with the 2D animation. So if any one of the animals was happy or sad, you had to rely on just the voice actor for you to, like, figure that out. Every once in a while, there was a little bit of a tell, like like an animal might have been like crying or like had like the snarl on their face or something, but other than that, you really just, all you had was the voice actors to go off. And not that all the voice acting was bad, but it's way more difficult to give a commanding performance that way. The two biggest things I didn't like was that I like Chiwetel Ejiofor as an actor, but for him doing the voice of Scar, it really just, he doesn't hold a candle to Jeremy Irons, I'm sorry. And I would accept the argument if somebody said that Chiwetel Ejiofor is a better actor than Jeremy Irons. I think there's an argument to be made for that. But if you're gonna compare his vocals in this movie to Jeremy Irons in the original Lion King, it's not even fucking close. Because not only does Jeremy Irons have like the most particular voice ever, but you could just feel the spite in his soul when he was delivering all those lines. And with this newest version, I didn't really feel any emotion. It just felt like he was just reading from a script, and it didn't feel that great. And the last thing that I really didn't like is the song Be Prepared. They really just kind of butchered it and simplified it, and it just wasn't as good. Because in the original, there's like geysers going off, everybody's jumping around doing all sorts of crazy shit, and in this movie, it's like real animals. It's like Animal Planet, but with dubbing. But anyway, guys, overall, it's not a bad movie because it still stems from a really good story, and that really bled through because, you know, it was a shot-for-shot remake. And the movie will probably make a bunch of money because people are gonna want to take their kids out to the movies, and this is the big thing that's out right now. But for me personally, for my money, I would recommend that people just stay home and watch the original 2D animation because it's so much better. There's a lot more emotion, and there's a lot more good things about it. But I think for a score overall out of 10, I think I'm gonna go slightly positive and give it a 5.6. From a technical standpoint, this movie is very crucial, but from an emotional entertainment standpoint, it just kind of didn't do it for me. If they were going for photorealistic, I think they probably should have done either Bambi or The Fox and the Hound. I think either one of those would have been better. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Did you see this movie yet? Were you excited? Hop in the comments. Let me know what's up. And as always, if you like this review, give me a like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, do all that other happy horse shit, and I will catch you guys next time.